seated, well, we're gonna spoil it.
Spoil it in your face.
That's your warning. So if you get pissed, it's all your fault. Woo-hoo. Woo-hoo.
What is up, little biscuits and sun-dried tomatoes? It's your boy, Eddie Collins.
Guys, and it's Justin Brown.
And we're Media Popcorn spoiling movies. But we're not really spoiling this because it came out months ago on Netflix. It's readily available because everybody owns Netflix. Jay Kelly, the Noah Baumbach directed and co-written with Emily Mortimer movie starring George Clooney, Adam Sandler, Laura Dern, and Billy Crudup. But to help us break it down is a dear friend and fellow AFCA member, Reggie Ponder, the Reel Critic. How you doing, Reggie?
Man, I am so glad to be here. Glad to chit-chat with you guys. You've been trying to get me on for a minute, and I have been MIA, traveling, doing stuff, but now I'm so glad to be with you guys.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
Where were you in your travels?
Yeah.
Just got back from Brazil. My oldest daughter, who is 30.
Nice.
I guess this is one of those things that these young people do, is they're having these destination birthdays where they inviting their friends and going different places. So she has been flirting around the world to her friend's 30th birthday party. And so she had a 30th birthday celebration in Brazil. Wow. And the wife and I went and celebrated along with her and had a good time. I just want to say, since you did ask, I am an avid basketball player. So I don't want to go to any city that I can't play basketball. So I played basketball in Brazil. I was happy. So I'm good to go.
Nice. I'm actually planning to go to Rio for the NFL game, in the fall. So I want to see the NFL game in Rio. So like I'm looking forward to. I've always wanted to go to Brazil, and I have a lot of Brazilian friends. So it's like it'll be cool to check it out.
Yeah, it was our friend, mutual friend, Katia Woods is from Brazil, and so gave me a lot of good places to go, especially where to go and play basketball.
Shout out to Katia, who I always felt like a little bit of a mentor in this industry, especially like when it comes to like the Black spaces, making sure that people feel represented, everything like that. But I also want to shout out you too, Reggie, even though you were giving me some gruff off mic and everything like that, because I've always looked at you as like having a very measured approach to the way you ask questions of talent, especially when we're in the AFCA roundtables. And I just always appreciate your perspective. So I'm glad we were able to make this happen. What are your thoughts on the current landscape for film critics these days? Like, how do you think things have improved, and how do you think things are not as good as they should be?
It's really interesting because I just moderated a panel yesterday on the state of local media, and the reason I want to bring out, to just pull out just a bit, the state of media, period, is really under attack. When you look at the media organizations, you see that not only the government, but some other entities are attacking just media in terms of who they are, what they say, and what they do. Additionally, you'll see that it's been happening for the last 20 years, but there's been a shift in dollars going away from traditional media to social media. And then you also see that where people get their news is in different places as well. So when you think about that, and then you come down to what we do as film critics, it really impacts what we do, because a lot of these publications are closing. I failed to mention that some of these are actually losing government funds. So when you look at PBS and NPR, they're losing government funds. So when we try to go to those publications and say, hey, you should have me, that's the last thing that they're thinking about. They're not thinking about movie criticism, but they are thinking about entertainment. And our audiences love entertainment more than a film criticism is my take on that.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, we've definitely seen at our screenings here in New York way more influencers than actual like film critics, who, and also like the people that are facilitating interviews. There's a lot of on film Twitter, especially about folks who are just asking terrible questions of talent, and borderline offensive or like problematic questions.
Gotcha questions.
not even that, just like really weird, odd, like, do you eat pickles? And if so, like, what do you do with the juice after? Like things like that, where you're like, what? Clearly, you didn't like the movie I'm in because you're asking me about pickles.
Yeah.
Justin, I thought that Brandon was going to really talk about some of the weird questions that people are asking, like what they asked Delroy Lindo. Somebody said, "Well, now that you're an up and coming actor,
Yeah,
is
that was
that
wild.
that these social media people they didn't even know who Delroy Lindo was.
Yeah.
So they're asking questions that are so out of pocket with no research and the other ones about the pickles. I wasn't privy to that, but I do know that they're asking questions that you could tell that they're not in the industry and that they're novice to a particularly black cinema.
Well, you know what? I mean, it's not even just film. It's crossed over, in music when Babyface was at, some sort of award show or something like that. And they just like, yeah, Babyface here, whoever, this guy's. And then they kind of just ushered Babyface off to talk to some random, artist that's out there. It's just like, do you guys realize that's Babyface? That's like one of the GOATs. Like, what are we doing right now? Yeah, I mean, the state of the world is we're living in a bizarro world right now, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I'm sure our listeners feel the same way. Our listeners and watchers on YouTube, and remember youtube.com/media popcorn, press that subscribe button, because you're watching three black men about to talk about one of the whitest movies that came out last year, Jay Kelly. There's not a black person inside of this movie.
There is Laura
Oh,
Dern's,
there is?
Laura Dern's assistant
Okay.
is a person of color in the film. I don't
Yes.
remember her name, but
They don't remember it either.
and then his daughter, the way they tracked his daughter was through her friend who was also black.
Yep.
Oh, okay. So the daughter
So there's
was
some black
progressive.
folks in it, but this still is, to your point, one of the whitest movies that's out there, and it's a Hollywood white movie. So
Yes.
that's what I want to say to that.
Very, very much so. But Reggie, what are your overall thoughts on Jay Kelly?
My overall thoughts is that a lot of people felt that this was an Oscar or an award-winning film. And before we get into what kind of popcorn and all that, I will say that I thought it was a solid film. It is a solid Hollywood film, and any film that makes me think or have a discussion with someone. Thank you guys for having me on to have a discussion. But any film that makes you think about life or makes you laugh or cry, I think that has some merit. And I definitely think that this movie has some merit. Was this the best movie that George Clooney has ever done? I don't think so. Some of our counterparts thought so, but I thought it was a solid movie. That's my overall thought.
Okay.
I think
I definitely.
one of the reasons. I'm sorry, go ahead, Brendan.
No, you go.
I think a lot of reasons. One of the reasons that people are saying that is because George Clooney has not put out a lot of films over the last number of years. So there's like, oh, George Clooney's in the film, and it's not like, the typical blockbusters, that we're kind of seeing. So they're just like, oh, this is, a return to form. It's, it seems like a slower, lower. And it's like, yeah, this movie was the best, and George Clooney at his finest. And I understand that, but like, I 1,000% agree with you. I think this was a solid movie as far as Oscar contender. I'm like, I mean, I guess okay, but like, for sure, it's not going to win anything, right? Right?
I mean, it didn't get nominated anything. It didn't get nominated for anything. There was a point where Adam Sandler was getting a lot of Oscar buzz, which I was excited for because, you talked about on this podcast. He got overlooked for Uncut Gems. I think he got overlooked for Hustle. He was nominated for Actors Award, but he didn't make it to the Oscars. And so I was like, oh, is this really finally the time when Sandman's going to get in? And then I watched the movie, and I was like, Billy Crudup actually gives probably the best performance in the movie, and he's only in it for 10 minutes. So if there's anyone that's going to get nominated for Best Supporting Actor, it's probably going to be him. No one got nominated. But to the George Clooney of it all, I do think this is a solid performance. I really, to Reggie's point about making you think and reflect on life, the scene where Jim Broadbent his mentor when they had the flashback, and he's kind of like this older man. He's asking this movie star, God, he basically made his career, like, because he allowed him to audition for the movie that ended up being his breakout role. It's like asking him, like, can you do this movie for me? Because we need a name. I'm like broke, all this stuff. And George Clooney's just like, no. Like Jay Kelly's just like, no, I can't do it. And we later learned through the eulogy of his son, Jim Broadbent's son, that he died broke. He was like in a 1-bedroom apartment by himself. Like he was isolated. Like no one in the industry was messing with him. And like that whole thing really made me think about how you treat people and how you treat your mentors and how you look out for people that looked out for you at one point and paying it forward. But is this George Clooney's best performance? No, I think he does a really solid job. I still personally think his best performance is Michael Clayton. I think that's like a very underrated performance. But overall, like this movie was interesting because it made you reflect on what does it all mean, especially in the entertainment industry. I think there's so many, Adam Sandler's character is honestly a little bit tragic because Laura Dern's like, we're like following this man who's very erratic, he's selfish, and he's just an actor. And Adam Sandler's like, but he's an actor that's done all these great movies that have impacted so many people. And she's like, but does that mean anything if we're not even with our own family that mean more than that? I was like, okay.
Yeah, I thought that this movie asked a number of questions. It asked, what is the price of fame? It asked, what would you give up to make your dream? It asks, as a parent, and you could see it in so many different ways. As a parent, how do we grow our children? So you see that with George Clooney and his 2 daughters. You see that with I'm forgetting the other guy's name who had his whole family at the at the award ceremony. He had cousins, nieces, and nephews. But you also see that with Adam Sandler with his daughter.
Yep.
And I guess I think I'm going to maybe not disagree because I don't know if you didn't say this, but I think that Adam Sandler should have gotten an award, an award nomination for this performance. It was very understated, and the chemistry that he had with George Clooney. There's so many scenes that I could say it was like a wow moment, but one that really stands out is that moment where they're discussing whether they're friends or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. And George Clooney ends up saying that would my friend take 15% of my money? And I would say, yeah, because I would hire my friend to take 15% of my money. But they also had the discussion with Laura Dern where Laura was like, did he invite you to this? No, he didn't invite you to that. And the reason he didn't invite you to that, it's one way. So this movie really had you think. I wrote in terms of my final quote for this movie, I said that this film suggests that we are successful as parents only when we've made ourselves irrelevant. That was what they talked about, when we make ourselves irrelevant. Well, Jay Kelly is actually irrelevant to his daughter's daily lives, yet he remains profoundly relevant to them as a shadow. So does the film propose that Kelly tragically kind of inverted that goal, where he should have created a lasting warm presence in their hearts? He instead forever is relevant as an unresolved issue in their heads. And so it's really, really interesting that he is so relevant in their heads that they can't even deal with this man on a father and daughter perspective. This film was, I thought, kind of profound, really touched some real issues and made me think, I hope I need to go talk to my daughters.
Yeah, I mean, because the youngest daughter was like, why are you here? When he pops up on her trip, she's like, why are you here? Why are you like, I don't want to go to your screening that's in a tribute to you in Sicily or wherever. Like, it's just wow. Like profound rejection right there from
well, and then his oldest daughter doesn't mess with him at all.
Nope.
So, so like because he messed up that relationship so bad, he's like, all right, I'm going to try to do it right over here. And he tries so hard and he ends up in the same exact place. So it's like, you can't try too hard. You can't, you got to try at some point. So it's like, there's this leveling that you try to do, but you really can't. You know what I'm saying? You just got to hope that you're doing the right thing and just showing up for them as much as you can, to the point where they understand that, like, hey, Dad's trying.
And it's almost like Jay Kelly is a character, is a person who doesn't even know how toxic he is. You know, I think that's why I kept going to the Billy Crudup scene. And I do agree with you, Reggie. I do think that when I think about the best supporting actor lineup, definitely think Adam Sandler or Billy Crudup should replace Jacob Elordi from Frankenstein or something like that, right? But that Billy Crudup scene, I think, was so impactful because, one, it's like kind of the inciting incident for the whole thing. Because after that, that's when Jay is like, I gotta go make things right with my daughter, and also try to go to the screening thing because I'm important or whatever. Like I did right in my career, because that reveals so much about his character and that how he got the break. And then it's okay. Like, it's one thing. Like, I want to talk to you guys and get your opinion about the Timothy Jay Kelly audition scene, and the outcome of that. But I think the reason why you can't fully side with Jay in that dispute is because Jay did take his girlfriend immediately after. So it's like,
no, you don't take nobody's girlfriend. Stop this, man. You don't take
that's what I'm saying.
nobody's girl. You don't take
that's why I'm
that
like,
girlfriend. She came with him. Jay was suave, debonair, and she liked him. Come on, get out of here.
She chose him. I mean, that's the thing. You don't. It's ladies' choice. That's the way it always is. Yeah. I mean, but like, I understand where you're coming from, but it's just like, that's who she chose. Should Jay have stood down? Possibly, yes.
After you overtook your guy's role, that like made you a star.
See, this
he was
really
fucking up the role anyways.
This is really interesting. I really do like this part of the discussion, Brandon.
Yeah.
Is that I wonder. There is this big question of what would you do in this situation, right?
Yep.
So he told his boy, this is what you should do. Change the language. What you just said was perfect. You should do that. And then he doesn't do it. But Jay is like, I got the guts to do that. Do I not do that? I always believe that we're probably, just in life, that we're in the right place where we're supposed to be. And I'm going to say that particularly about this podcast. So thank you again, fellas, for having me on. Is that I think I'm in the right place. We've tried it a couple of times. I missed it, whatever. Maybe I wasn't meant to be on at that time. Yeah. And so how it relates to Jay Kelly is that he's in the room.
Fair.
What do you do when you're in the room? And we say this to people all the time. Don't dim your light. Shine yourself. Make sure that you believe in yourself wherever you are, whenever you are, because you're in a room for a reason. And I don't think that he stole his role. I really don't. I'm not saying this to be controversial. Yeah. I'm saying that here's one guy that was scared, and here's another guy who was prepared.
You know, Reggie, also that makes me think, reconsider, like, because, Jay says to Timothy, he's like, in theater class, you were the guy. Like, you were the man. And Justin knows this from acting. There's a big difference between you being a theater actor and a film actor. Yep. And that maybe it's just the way that it worked out. Jay is the film actor and Timothy was the theater guy. Well, it's really hard to do both.
There's also a big difference between being the guy in class or the guy in practice and the guy on game day. And that's the main thing. Jay was a guy, was a game day player. You know what I'm saying? So I guess it's also a thing. It's like, because if that were me and I were Timothy and like I was going in and I was stinking up an audition and then my friend came in there and he actually did it. He got it. I would look at it in the space of, you know what? If it's not me, I'm glad that it's you. I'm glad that it's you. I'm glad it's somebody I know, somebody I respect and I love. He was able to get that. Like, I'm glad that it's you. You know what I'm saying? But that's just how I look at things. But actors, it very much in particular, they think that the world revolves around themselves. So is also Timothy just showing us another level of the overall the actor's mind and the actor's fragile ego, that you think you took that from me, is just like, you weren't going to get it anyways. That role wasn't for you.
I love when George Clooney said that. He's like, you were never going to make it anyway.
He wasn't going to get it because they stopped him in mid sentence. You know
Mhm.
that he got the Apollo on the Kiki
The
Shepard or the
Sandman.
Sandman because
R.I.P.
uh,
By the way.
rip to Kiki Shepard. But they were like, we heard enough. But then they were like, oh, wait a minute, can you read some more? Jay, can you read some more? Now, I will say that as what Justin was saying about the girl, could he have stood down? Probably. He probably could have stood down. But I do believe that it's a choice. Is that I've never said that someone that I was dating was mine, because I don't think there's a possessive there. I don't think that there's a possessive. It's that we're all free to go where we need to go. And because he was so not sure himself, I think that kind of almost repels people, because he wasn't sure enough. She was talking him into going to the audition, and then she was like, "Okay, he doesn't seem sure enough. Jay, can you go help my boy?"
Mm-hmm.
That's tough. That's tough.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
sorry.
like I understand why Tim is mad. I do. I understand why he's mad, but
The bitterness was so palpable, and that's what I loved about Billy Crud's performance, because it's like he's teetering this thing where it's like you understand why he's mad, but he's also not handling this well at all. Where he's they always talk about you getting the audition, but they never talk about the friend that got you the audition, and it's just like, well, that's not the story, bro. That's not.
But I think it comes down to the fact that it's just like, all right, it's like you got to get over that. You got to get over it and you move on. That moment right there ruined Timothy's acting career. That moment right there destroyed his acting career, and that was his downward trajectory, and that was the end of his career. And listen, I've seen that happen. that moment where you said like, oh, it's over for this guy. That's the moment it's over for this guy. And so I understand we got there, but part of it is all about ego and Timothy's ego, because in class, he was better. On stage, he was better. And then you had this other guy came up and took what he thought was mine. It's all about ego for him. But I think that's the thing that makes this film so relatable, especially for someone who's been in the acting realm, is because, I've seen this before. I've seen this 1,000 times. So that's what makes it so real, and that's what makes it was just like, yeah, this is a solid movie, because it made me look back at my career. Go on.
Well, no, but what I love that you just said there is that it also makes it relevant for anything that's a little bit competitive. So when you mentioned sports a little bit, when you think about from a sports perspective, how many times did the person think that starting position was theirs?
Well,
You
yeah.
know,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
it's not yours. You have to earn it, and even once you earn it, you have to keep it. And that's a really interesting point that Jay Kelly made. He said that I was so busy trying to get it, and then once I got it, I was like, I got to keep it. And so I thought it was going to be temporary to be away from you, my daughter. I thought that was going to be temporary, but it just kind of snowballed. I do want to mention, Brandon, and I'd love to hear both of you guys' thoughts on this, is that Laura Dern was fabulous to me. And I thought
She's always great.
that she was not on the screen a long time either, but I thought she was fabulous, because on one hand, she's the woman who's doing the same thing that she's accusing Adam Sandler of doing. She's been doing it for a long time. So
Yeah, she's the
so
publicist.
she doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily get a lot of kudos for now realizing after 30 years or whatever of doing it that, oh, maybe I shouldn't do it. Good for her that she finally got there. But so that on one hand, she's that person too. But on the other hand, she's challenging him in Sandler's character in a way that I thought was very powerful. And I think she was having a year, because she also did a really good job in Is This Thing On? So I was like, Laura Dern, I was like, girl, go ahead on with your bad self.
Yeah. As a stand-up comedian, is this thing on? I have mixed feelings about because it felt like crashing the movie, but Laura Dern was really good in that. I did like, to your point, Reggie, I like that her character really did start making Ron reflect on his career and how much he sacrificed it for someone like Jay, because he actually ends up getting fired by a client played by Patrick Wilson, who, because Jay Clayton wouldn't take this Tuscany screening tribute, he gave it to this client. But then because Jay decided to take it back, now they have to share it. And this guy, Ben, is just like, why are you doing this to me? And also, he seemed like the guy who actually liked Ron as like a person, like as a
Yeah.
friend, right? And the fact that he was the one firing Ron, it's like that was like a very interesting moment. I also love that Ron's wife is played by Greta Gerwig, because when I first saw her, I was like, "Is that Greta Gerwig?" And then she's like, when he calls her and says, "I got fired," she's like, "Oh no, by Jay?" And he's like, "No, not Jay." It was like, well, we know where her priorities
what's really
are.
interesting there is that on the one hand, you see that Jay Kelly has no one. He doesn't have a wife or a partner. But on the other hand, you see that Adam Sandler's character does have a wife, and she's like, "Hold it, we still need that money. You need to you need to keep it on. We don't no." And another one about the money for me was the credit card issue. Is that the young lady says, "Mom, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you because you were following me on my credit card." And then she says, "Well, you want me to cancel the credit card?" And she says, "No, don't cancel the credit card." And I got some people in my family like that. But anyway, I won't mention any names.
Justin, what'd you think of Laura Dern in this?
No, I think everything you guys said, it was spot on. She was the person that brought Ron. Well, held the mirror up to Ron. It's like, hey, this is what you're doing. This is who you are right now. And those roles are very important to any film, because like she's essentially getting our story to move forward. But just to step off of her for a second. Ron, oh man, like I always feel like we all know a Ron who's following that person, or is like the person behind the guy who's like, whether it's the popular kid in high school, or just somebody who's he's a utility player, right? He's that guy who gets things done and never gets the love for it. And never gets the love, and is always taking the back seat. And I think Sandler really, really just nailed that so very well. And then even the fact is like, yeah, he had a thing with Laura Dern, but because it's all about Jay, he basically took what he wanted and threw it out the window. And and that's also like, we can't do that to her. You can't do that to yourself.
Yeah, and that's the sacrifice, right? And like when Ron realizes like, I'm sacrificing way too much, and the fact that Jay won't even say I'm his friend, and this is after Jay, brought out his dad, played by Stacey Keach, in a great cameo, who you clearly understand a little bit why Jay's a little fucked up, but when Jay has nobody, that's when he finally is like, Ron. And like Ron's just like, I'm done working for you. Like, I'll go to the screening with you as a friend, but I'm done being your protector. I'm done being your manager. And I thought that that's to your point, Justin, I think that's such a great illustration of Adam Sandler able to be likable, but also heartbreaking at the same time. And that's something that, like, the years of work that he's been putting in the variety of films and stuff that he does. I know not everyone's fans of all of his Netflix stuff, but Adam Sandler like has the goods. If he gets the right material in the right direction, he can put in a great performance. And so it's not a matter of if, but when he'll actually finally get like awards recognition.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys, what did you guys think about the whole storyline with the robbery on the train and Jay chasing down that guy, and then like how, that gave him this, this publicity bump, which led to positive things, because, he was on the negative turn with the Timothy, debacle, and all of a sudden like this happens. Like, what do you guys feel about that story arc there?
I thought a couple of things, and I think this played through throughout the movie is that the people who you less care about, you do more for. So in this case, he doesn't know this guy, but he'll go out on a limb and put himself out there for this guy that he doesn't care about. But then when you look at the award ceremony, you'll see all these people, the people who came are the people who are in awe of him. They don't really know him. They don't
Yep.
really have a relationship with him, but the film talked about how the movies are basically not the soundtrack of our lives, but the track of our lives in many ways. And so for many people, Jay Kelly was a dream for them, but not for the rest of the people. So I found it interesting that he would go and do this for someone he didn't know. It felt a little bit manufactured, but I think it worked in the scheme of what they were doing there.
Yeah, I definitely felt there was like some influence of potential because we know that celebrities sometimes make their own stories and everything like that. And they like, work with TMZ to create buzz and everything like that. So the fact that it was actually like a genuine situation just happened to work out timing wise. But I think again, it just shows how the Hollywood machine can spin something that like, you know, because that crime, that the assault should have definitely been the big story, but because he did this heroic thing overseas, now he's this international hero and stuff. And it's it's just how it works. Like we talk about it all the time, Reggie, on this podcast when we talk about Mark Wahlberg. Anytime we unfortunately have to review a Mark Wahlberg movie, we always remind our listeners, hey, look at Mark Wahlberg and all the stuff he did in Boston, because he should not be the movie star that he is right now. Like we're very transparent with stuff like that. And so yeah, I mean, that was an interesting moment, but also just illustrated how also delusional Jay Kelly is, how much he's caught up in the Hollywood mystique of everything without actually caring beyond the fame and the recognition, right? Like when it actually comes to, like Reggie said, with the people you actually should care about. Like I keep going back to the Jim Broadbent scene because one, it showed how, because I think at one point doesn't he even say like you don't even need to act in it. I just need your name attached to it, like
I
almost
just
like you
need
could be
your
a
name
producer or
attached to the
something.
movie.
That's all he needed, and he still said no, which is so like I mean, there's so many people that just put their names on anything, right? And like that, so it was just a very deliberate choice. And then I love at the end when because they're talking about is it pickles or olives that don't go bad? Pickles, right? Pickles don't spoil or whatever. And like Jay Kelly's like, oh, I'm pretty sure they do. And then after he gets rejected by Jay, he's like, pickles don't spoil. Like he's very firm on that. Like, I just want to let you know, you don't know everything. And I was just like, yep, that he's your mentor for a reason. And you're not listening anymore. And just like, oh, like I think we're meant to see that Jay Kelly is too far gone. And that's what makes the ending bittersweet, because all he has is this career now. He doesn't have any life outside of what he puts on the screen at this point.
He's not a real person at this point.
What'd you say, Justin?
I say he's just not a real person. He doesn't live in the real world, and he never will, because also the world has told him over a long career that he doesn't have to. That it
remember
will
the
forgive him. And
well, remember the acting teacher breaks this all down in that flashback when he says, "Oh, you want to be a star, so that means you have to act twice as much, because you have to one be the actor who's performing on screen and stuff or on stage, and you also have to be the actor that pretends to be a star." That's why, like when I read Will Smith's book, the first 20 pages tells you exactly kind of what happened on Oscar night, because he's like the opening pages. He's like, the man as Will Smith is this character I created out of fear and anger and all this stuff. And so I'm like, oh yeah, actors are all kinds of crazy. Like they're just cuckoo bananas. And Jay Kelly just like fully lost himself.
Yeah, and that's why I think it's a solid movie, because we can talk about so many of the characters in this film. We could talk about the letter that his daughter wrote to him. We can talk about being ambushed to go to a therapy session. I will tell you what I thought about the therapy session. For me, was that it's really interesting how people of my age, I'm older than you guys, but that we don't even understand what people are talking about when they say I got depression, I need therapy or whatever. Be like, just keep pushing, just keep moving, just keep doing stuff. And the reason we don't understand it is because we buried it in other things, alcoholism, violence, whatever. But it was there, but we don't understand it as depression. We just figured out how to cope and move forward every day. So to see Jay Kelly's character be like, no, 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 I don't want to do this. But to see his daughter be like, we need to do this. I need this. It's really a generational conversation as well. And I thought that was interesting as well.
100%. Before we get to our letterbox reviews on Jay Kelly, I did want to ask you both, why do you think this got completely shut out when it came to the Oscars? Why do you think Jay Kelly just got nothing? No screenplay, no acting performances, nothing.
Honestly, I think a lot of the films which kind of expose parts of the acting business, whether it just be the actors, just the way things go, I always feel like they really don't do that well when it comes down to like awards and all of that. And I say that because like people don't care. The audience doesn't care, to find out how the hot dog's made. You know what I'm saying? They just want the hot dog. They're like, I'm hungry. Feed me my entertainment. They also, like I remember saying to my friends, it's like, oh, how, being on set, what's that like? And da 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 da. And it was like, well, it's really like any other job. And trying to explain to them, and they didn't care about that. They want to hear about the glitzy, glammy, sexy stuff. You know what I'm saying? So like, I think that's we find ourselves, I think people watch these films and they just like, but do I really care about, this kind of the actor and his feelings? Entertain me.
I hear what you're saying. I think you're thinking more of general audiences though, because a lot of movies in the past have like focused on filmmaking and acting have gotten like a lot of awards for recognition. Like I'm thinking about Mank, I'm thinking about The Artist, which won Best Picture, and no general audiences saw that movie, but it was about filmmaking and it was an international film at that, and like won all the acting awards and everything. So I think that actors do like seeing themselves, like, seeing their industry portrayed. I mean, think about the success of the studio, right? The studio just swept all the Emmys and everything. I think there's something specific about this movie. I don't know if it's like Noah Baumbach and people are just kind of over him, or if they just thought that it was too close to George Clooney. Like, Reggie, what do you think was the reason why or so?
I actually was surprised because people in the industry not only revere George Clooney, they actually like him. George Clooney is one of those guys in the industry that they like. So you look at somebody like on the women's end, they have like 5 women that we keep getting nominated for an Oscar over and over and over again. But did I think Begonia was a good film? I don't know what you guys thought, but no, it should not have been nominated. But because of the actress, they seem to want to give her an award every time. And that doesn't mean that she's not good, but the movie didn't deserve that. It was not a good performance. It just didn't do it. I think I was surprised because I think that Clooney put in a good performance. But objectively, I felt that it wasn't an Oscar-winning performance. But I thought that the voters, to your point, the type of voters would be like, we like George Clooney. He did a solid job in this movie. We're going to give him something. I thought Adam Sandler was going to get something. And I think that your point about other folks in the film, Brandon, doing good jobs as well, I thought somebody would have got something from that movie. So I'm actually surprised. So I don't know the answer. And since you get all the good interviews and stuff like that, maybe you can come back and tell us what's going on.
Okay. Yeah, I was very surprised too, but I think I saw the writing on the wall after the Actors Guild. I think that Sinners got so much momentum, and rightfully so, in the award season. I think it was either like, because a lot of people are like, oh, that last slot, is that going to go to Sandler? Is that going to go to Miles from Sinners? And a lot of people I remember whispering after the awards were like, I think Delroy might sneak in there. And that was like a beautiful surprise. So as much as I want Adam Sandler to have possibly been nominated for this, I'm not going to trade that for Delroy getting his first Oscar nomination.
I agree with you. I feel that a lot. I think that it's really interesting that you mentioned Delroy, just a chameleon. This guy can play almost anything. You look at him in something like a This Christmas. You look at him in something like the Bloods for the Spike Lee movie. I mean, you look at him in all these different films, and he's like, this guy is really, really good. And I was very happy for him as well.
100%. And at that point, it got into where there's only one spot left because the four have been locked, like Stellan Skarsgård and Sean Penn and Benicio del Toro. And so you're like, shit, okay. So it was just bad timing. It was just unfortunate timing. Honestly, after rewatching this, I think Adam Sandler is better than Stellan Skarsgård. I think Billy Crudup was better than Stellan Skarsgård in the System of the Value. And I like that director. I like the movie because Justin and I we liked Jorgen, whatever the director's name is, his first movie, The Worst Person in the World. We really liked that one. Sentimental Value is a different kind of movie, but I still enjoyed it. But I thought Stellan gave an okay performance, but Jim Broadbent plays a similar character that's even like better and more impactful in just 2 minutes of screen time. So yeah, it's a bummer that Sandler or Billy Crudup didn't get nominated for this.
Yeah. Before we move on to the next thing, Justin, I just want to say that when we talk about the worst person in the world, I know you can't say this, but I think it's Brandon.
Oh man, it's just a roast battle.
Listen,
over here.
I've known.
I was wondering where that was going too, and I was like, oh damn, the punchline is me. Oh,
you know, Reggie, I've known Brandon for a very long time. Like we started his career. Like one of the first things that we've done was kind of together, and I can say that like Brandon is a great person, but he's also the worst person at the same time. So I'm with you, Reggie.
Thank you. I'm good. I'm good for the rest of my life. Thank you so much.
Yeah. I don't mean to be. It's just, sometimes things happen and I become like a villain. And it's like, I don't even realize I'm the villain. And then I'm like, oh, wait, let me go back to being the good guy. I'm like Jekyll and Hyde. I'm crazy. Because Justin see me like Justin. Yeah, it's wild. Justin, we got letterbox reviews on Jay Kelly?
Of course we do. All right. Up first, we have Bobby Finger. Bobby Finger writes, last year, Sing Sing briefly made me feel like there was nothing more beautiful than acting. This year, Jay Kelly made me feel like it should be illegal. That's a Netflix movie makes it legitimately offensive. 1 star. Okay. That's a way to look at it. Yeah. Up next, we have Mary. Longest ad for veneers I've ever seen.
Oh, wow.
1.5 stars.
Okay.
Jeez.
I didn't notice people's teeth like that, but okay.
Okay. All right. Ceres says, Netflix producing and dropping a film all about the love of the movies, then single-handedly trying to destroy the industry within the same week is definitely something. 3.5 stars.
Someone saw this during the whole Netflix trying to acquire Warner Brothers.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm guessing.
Worse things could happen. Ben of the Week. Ben of the Week says, I know we're not supposed to care for these woe is me flicks, but fuck that. Everyone is allowed to be melodramatic, and I absolutely love this. 5 stars. All right. And here we go. We have Modino. We just read a review from him on the last one we just recorded. The guy from the Nespresso ad is a pretty decent actor. 4 stars.
Yeah, actually, I heard Billy Crudup on a podcast talk about how that actually saved them financially doing those Nespresso commercial. Oh wait, Nespresso's George Clooney. Sorry, Billy Crudup did some kind of commercial where it saved his life. He was basically I was going to be destitute and have to move back home, and then I got this commercial. But yeah, George Clooney's an Nespresso guy. My bad.
But people don't understand, the life of an actor.
Commercials can help you out a lot.
Yeah, commercials hold you up for a long time. Not anymore, but back in the day for sure. Last one we have is from Elaine. Elaine writes, the greatest tragedy there is would be choosing work over family, only to wake up one day and attend a career tribute celebrating your decades worth of filmography, but have no one to watch it with. And no stars are just a heart. And that's our reviews.
All right. Justin, break down our rating system, baby.
Stop calling me baby, Brandon. Guys, you know how we do this. We rate movies bags of popcorn, small, medium, large, and the XL for the exceptional. If a film doesn't deserve any hot, buttery, delicious popcorn, we throw it into the stale popcorn pile. We pile piles and piles of stale popcorn on the top of it. So, Reggie, we sat down, we watched the 2025 release, Jay Kelly starring George Clooney, Adam Sandler, Laura Dern, Billy Cundiff. What say you, sir?
I'm from Chicago. And so when we start talking about popcorn, it's Garrett's popcorn. And Garrett's popcorn is a step above just regular popcorn. I'm gonna give you 2 ratings. On your scale, I'm gonna give this a large popcorn.
Okay.
I'm gonna say that it's a large popcorn, but on a Garrett scale, this is a small popcorn because you pay more for Garrett's. It got that Chicago mix. It's a small popcorn. I know we can't do 2 ratings, but I'm just saying if we talking about Chicago, I gotta do my Garrett's popcorn justice, man. It was one of Oprah's favorites, so that's all I got to say.
Okay, all right. It was good enough for Oprah. It's good enough for us.
I love how Reggie's like, I know you can't do 2 ratings, but I will do 2 ratings. It's okay. We respect our elders on this podcast. My rating is a large as well. I just thought the performances really carried this movie. Adam Sandler, Billy Crudup, Jim Broadbent, Laura Dern. And the script is pretty decent too. It gets a little self-indulgent and a bit on the nose at times, but it's executed well. And even though it's over 2 hours, it's paced fairly well. I think maybe they could have trimmed like 7 to 10 minutes, but nonetheless, like I thought the montage at the end where I was like with George Clooney and like they really used real footage. I'm like, is this his last movie? Like it wouldn't be a terrible movie for him to go out on.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking that when I was watching it, but I was like, obviously he's going to continue acting, but I mean, he's had a storied career. And so, yeah, I just enjoyed this movie. I liked it. I like rewatching it. Actually, for this podcast review, it was the second time I watched it and I actually enjoyed it more the second time because I think I knew what to expect. I think at the beginning, you're kind of like, where is this going? What's going on? And now like I was able to lock in a little bit more and enjoy it. So Justin, what's your rating?
You know, it's funny though. I find I can't rewatch this because I think this hits a little too close to home. and again, and like this put me in my feels a little bit. This film, I think, I identified with this very much so. Obviously, I'm not fucking George Clooney or Jay Kelly, but you know what I'm saying. I think I understand a lot of what was happening in the film. But I thought that this was a phenomenal film. The first time, when I watched this, I watched it alone. I think on it was I watched it late night alone, and I was just like, man, like this is good. And again, it hit all the beats and it hit them hard and it hit the feels. I think.
Did you cry?
No, but it made me think about it. That's
made you think about crying. Okay.
Yeah, I thought about it. It's like, oh man,
Netflix has those random sneak up on you movies like Train Dreams that had me teary-eyed and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Train Dreams, that one got me. That one got me. But that being said, I'm giving this a large as well. I don't know what could have pushed this over to an XL, but like I feel like maybe it had to be just I need a little bit more from maybe the daughters. You know what I'm saying? I think that could have pushed me over right into the XL. I think a little bit more about their relationship. I think that would have like kind of drove things home a little bit more.
Got it. Our producer Lluvia, before we do our plugs, is asking, how do we feel about the final line, which is throwback to the first scene where it's like, can I have another one? Can I do another take? I'd like to do it again.
It was a beautiful line. It really summed up what the movie was about. Is that this guy understood at the end that he needed a do-over. He's like, can we do it again? And then I think the actual line was, I need to do it again. So something of that nature.
I'd like another one.
Oh, I like another one. And we know he wasn't talking about let's do the award ceremony again. He was really talking about his life as he saw it flash across his face. And I think, you know, even the cheesecake scene where he ended up eating the cheesecake and he took 2 bites of the cheesecake because he used to like cheesecake. Now he doesn't, but at the end he was like, maybe cheesecake is not all that bad. Maybe I've been missing a lot here. So the final line, I think, did a really good job there.
I agree. I think, you know, that that line did a lot of heavy lifting. A lot of heavy lifting, and I think it was a perfect way to close it out, especially, you know, for someone who has a story like this, you know, and, you know, seeing a lot and experiencing a lot, and you wish you could have done it over again and just to end it like that. Chef's kiss. Brandon?
Yeah. No, I agree with what you both said. I thought it was a great end note, and I mean, it summarizes everything, right? It's yeah, it's a good bookend to the story where we watch this man kind of realize how far away he's gotten from where he thought he would end up. Just like in regards to fulfillment, in regards to fulfilling, like, you know, his purpose, in regards to the community he has around him, the support he has around him, and how much of it is genuine, which not much of it is. Yeah, this is a powerful ending. And this has been a powerful review. Am I right, listeners? All right. Reggie, thank you so much for
talking to the abyss.
Yeah.
Am I right? Am I right?
Reggie,
did you break the
thank you
fourth
so much
wall
for-
when you did that?
Thank you so much for finally making this happen. Please tell listeners how they can follow you and keep up with all your reviews and everything.
On most social media, you can follow me as The Reel Critic, and that's REEL. I am real, REAL, but it's the REEL. And then you can check me out at indigo.com. Most weeks I do a review for them. I'm also on vocalo.org, as well as occasionally writing an article for the Chicago Sun-Times. So you can check out my articles there as well.
Awesome. Thank you again, Reggie, for joining us. Folks, as always, you can follow the show at Medium P Podcast on all social media platforms, mediumpopcorn.com for all your Medium Popcorn needs, at youtube.com/Medium Popcorn. Press that subscribe button so you get alert about all future reviews and celebrity interviews we have on the channel. You can follow me personally at Frodo_Blackens on Instagram and Threads, FrodoBlackens.com for my upcoming stand-up shows, Trump Like History shows, all that good stuff. And just if people want to follow you as well as support the show financially, what can they do, my brother?
Well, you can take yourself over to Patreon, patreon.com/medium popcorn. We have $2, $5, $10, and $15 packages. Our entire backlog is on Patreon. We have so many bonus episodes, and guys, Patreon is where it's at. So again, that's patreon.com/medium popcorn. But if you want to follow me, jump on over to any of the social media platforms and tap me in at J Brown Did It. But what did I do? Who knows? You'll find out.
Oh boy. That sounds like a threat. All right.
It is.
Boy. Reggie, thank you again for joining us. Glad we finally made this happen. And folks, we will talk to you all next week. Peace.
All right.
Medium popcorn. We are two niggas spoiling movies. Yeah. Brandon Collins, that's me. And Justin Brown for your movie needs. Medium popcorn. Woo! You haven't seen it, well, we're gonna spoil it. Spoil it in your face. That's your warning. So